Last week, Mark Wahlberg tweeted about the death of George Floyd. He said that it was heartbreaking and we must work together to fix the problem and added the hashtag Black Lives Matter. Some were quick to dig up Wahlberg's past hate crimes when he was a teenager, and now others in the sports world are being outed for their past racist comments or actions. So, Shannon, do Wahlberg's past high school incidents make you feel differently about him now?
Skip, and I mentioned this earlier, Skip, I don't really like branding someone with that scarlet letter for a one-time incident. This happened long ago, and that's not an excuse, because I don't excuse he knew what he was doing, and he did it. But is there a pattern of behavior from that moment? Has anything else occurred along these lines? Now, he's been in Hollywood, and he's worked with a lot of black actors, support groups, and people that are around. So it'd be interesting to see if someone else can come out and say, I had a story, and he said something that was racially, right towards me.
I've never heard one.
I've never heard it. Now, I've been around him a handful of times, and so, but that's not to say I don't know. It's Skip, when people always ask me, Shannon, you ever met such and such? I was like, yeah, what's he like? Well, I can tell you what he's like around me at that moment. I don't know what he's going to be like around you. I don't know what he's going to be like in his private life. I can just tell you, I can just speak to a specific moment. So around me, he was on the show, Skip. What, 2 months ago? He was on the show. Had a great time talking to him. I've been around him at a couple of sporting events. And so, Skip, I'm very cautious to paint someone with that brush for a one-time incident that was 34 years ago. Now, when you got situations like the Utah DC, and you have a player saying this, but Skip, what we're seeing, and we talked about this on Friday, Skip, I believe over the next 3 months, 6 months, a year, you're going to have more of this coming out, especially if you hashtag Black Lives Matter, because people are going to go back and dig and say, okay, try to find something and say, okay, did Black Lives Matter then when you said this? And so that's what we're going to get. It's kind of like you said to me too. People go back and like, well, he did this in 1970, he did this in 1980. Skip, if there's a history, if there's a pattern, okay, now you got my undivided attention. Because I believe, people have said things in anger and frustration that not to excuse it. Because I don't want to excuse him saying that word, because everybody knows in England, wherever across the world, they know what that word is, Skip. You talk about vile, that's vile in any language, in any country, on any continent.
True.
But I haven't heard of Mark Wahlberg having any other instances in which race or racial epithet was uttered, or he treated someone. That's not to say it didn't happen, but I haven't heard it. But the Iowa strength coach, what you're starting to see, Skip, you're starting to see more than one player. It wasn't one. Because, Skip, a lot of times it's one, you can brush it off. Now, there's a situation that happened down in Clemson. Dabo Swinney's going to have to address. He's going to have to address this.
Yep.
He had a Football Matters t-shirt on. It's all fine and good and it's cute, and you can pray and you can have faith and read the Bible all you want to, but you're going to have to address these issues, Dabo. They're not going away.
No.
They're not going away.
Okay, so I want to make the point that what happened yesterday concerning Mark Wahlberg, he trended all day yesterday on Twitter, and it wasn't because of a gotcha moment. It wasn't because a watchdog went back into his Twitter past or whatever past and said, aha, got you.
Right.
These racial incidents, these hate crimes have been existing on his Wikipedia page, hiding in plain sight since Wikipedia was born. Trust me, it's been there. I've had Mark Wahlberg on shows dating back to First Take. I don't know what year the first time, maybe 2014 was the first time we had him on. And I did read his Wikipedia the night before. And I said to our producers, I read about these hate crimes. I'm going to ask him. I'm sorry, I just can't not ask him about these because I was not aware of his past as a teenager in Boston, just how out of control these were. And sure, okay, and I did. And he took it. He owned it. He didn't run from it. He didn't duck. He didn't dodge. He said, I was out of control. And I did learn a lot of lessons, and I paid for it. He did go to jail. It was a 2-year sentence. I don't know how he served only 45 days. But remember, there were two things that happened. There were back-to-back days when he was 15 years old, in which he threw rocks and chased black children, like 3rd and 4th graders, calling them, yelling the N-word at them. And I'm talking about the N-word, the most evil, vile word in the history of this language. And then at age, he's 15 then at 17, he attacked a Vietnamese man with a big wooden stick and just beat him almost to the brink of his life.
Right.
And that's the one he got arrested for and charged for and convicted of.
Right.
Okay. He also went after another Vietnamese man and punched him in the eye. He thought he'd knocked his eye out, but the Vietnamese man later said, I lost it in the war.
Right.
Okay. So then in 2014, around that time, maybe he was on the show, Wahlberg applied for a pardon of his convictions and finally dropped the attempt at a pardon because one of the black children came forward and said, a racist is always a racist,
right.
you know, and you can't live with that.
Right.
You have always taught me that. Once you're a racist, you're racist. And Shannon Sharpe's never going to quite trust you again.
And Skip, for me, is that I can't tell that man that got those epithets hurled at him how he should feel. And I'm sure at the time, Skip, because I look at people that said it to me, I didn't look at them the same. I didn't. And so for people that want to condemn, Skip, I'm not, look, like I said, he's great to me, and I'm not here to, to try to cleanse Mark Wahlberg of his past transgressions or his sins. That's not what I'm here for. But I think he understood that by hashtagging Black Lives Matter, this was going to come back. People were going to dig this up, Skip, and that's the thing.
It's not, you don't even have to dig it up. It's just right there.
But I'm saying, people were going to bring
it to the forefront.
Right.
Yes, they are.
And I think that's what happened. Isn't that what happened with the Utah? He was talking about Black Lives Matter, and the guy was like, oh, it mattered?
Yep.
I couldn't tell, not when you tweeted, not when you
and that was a 2013 incident.
And I guess he thought he was sending it to a colleague.
Yep.
And he ended up sending it to the recruit.
He did. And he profusely apologized, as Wahlberg did, for all of the above. But once you've done it, you've done it. Right. And Shannon Sharpe always told me, that's it. And Skip, I know what you are.
Skip, look, I don't excuse, because they send kids to prison for the rest of their life for crimes they committed as a teenager. So I'm fully well aware that kids know right, especially 14, 15, kids driving at 17. It's hard for me to say you can get a driver's permit, you know how to drive, but you don't know the things that you say would be hurtful or what you shouldn't say. But Skip, this DC is a grown-ass man. Black kids coming in and out of Utah. They coming in and out of your program.
No, he's been beloved there for a long time. He was an All-American safety there. He's been there all the way. Grew up in Salt Lake City.
And so, he's going to, and I think, Skip, people are going to lose their jobs for this. And now, and also what's happening, Skip, if you notice, people that feel this way, they're really adamant. They're going overboard with it. They Facebook with nooses and all this say black, you need to punish them. And so all these protesters and getting out of this and that. So if you're adamant about where your stance is, oh, you fool boy, you're like, I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care. But
so help me out on this. Just as they say in Alcoholics Anonymous, you're a recovering alcoholic.
Yes.
You're never recovered. You're just recovering.
Right.
It's literally one day at a time.
Right.
One drink, you're falling off the wagon, you could die.
Right.
Can you be a recovering racist? Can you, for the rest of your life, continue to make amends and still be on the verge, but never fall off the wagon that you're on?
Skip, Skip, you don't get to become an alcoholic with one drink. It is a pattern of behavior over an extended period of time that means you're an alcoholic or a drug addict or a gambling addict.
But I believe you're genetically predisposed to it. Yeah.
So
you have a weakness.
The question is that in that moment, when Mark did what he did, if the stimuli was the same in today, right now, I think he's 48, 49.
49.
If the stimuli was placed on him like it was then, would he resort to saying those things or reacting the way he did then? That's the question. I don't believe he would. Now, that's just me. Maybe I'm naive, maybe because of 34 years and he's, like I said, I don't know anything. People been around him that probably would know him more than I would, but I can just speak to what I know.
No, I got you. I just don't want me personally to fall into the trap of every time we've had him on, I've had him on 5 or 6 times, He's tremendous. He's fun. He's funny.
Right.
He's a movie star.
Yes.
And he's great. He's open, accessible. He's self-deprecating. But I don't want that to cover up something that could be hidden, sort of.
Well, Skip, I mean, look, I'm sure they're going to be. He's worked around enough black men and on screen. The people, the camera crew, and the spotters, and all the other stuff that's behind the scenes.
Right. I've never heard of one incident, one wrong word coming out.
I have not either.
Yep.
And that's, Skip, just because you and I haven't heard it, it didn't mean it didn't happen.
Nope.
But like I said, for me, Skip, I'm a pattern of behavior. It's repeat offenses. And it doesn't matter what the offense is, Skip. It's just that pattern. Bro, you doing that again. You did that again. You did that again. That's what gets me. And the Iowa strength coach.
Yep.
I mean, people gonna have to give an account for this. I mean, I'm sure they thought this was a thing of the past. Like, okay, it happens, and
with him, they said he likes to joke that way.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a laughing matter to the people you're joking at.
Yeah. We both need to be laughing for that to be funny. I'm saying, hey, if you're the only one laughing, you say something about me and I ain't laughing, especially if it has to do with race or something that
race.
Nah, bro. We don't joke like that. We can find other things that you and I both can get a laugh out of, but race ain't one of them.
Well, as we continue to have these important conversations, guys, Shannon, you spoke with Drew Brees yesterday. You guys had a lot to say, and I want to go back to that and really dig deeper when we return on Undisputed.